Patrick added on his leather ass. Shout out to Rounders. Shout out to Kanish.
Shout out to Dusty Schmidt, right? Yeah. Grinded like some of the most hands-on poker stars.
Big John raises Jack 5 of diamonds. Luda is going to dominate him, man. 3-bet with King 10 off.
Sampo, can I get a bottle of water?
LG calls with an unknown hand. Luda's going to flop a king, and he's going to check it out of position. Check, check. Luda also with a 10 in his hand. And if LG had queen 10, he likely would have bet. So I think Luda's going to... I thought he was going to bet, but I guess not. He's going to let LG do something. LG is going to oblige and bet. Chris is assuredly not going to fold. Jack 9 or 9-6
live in the bike,
would outdraw Luda.
That'll be good enough because it'll be like a red when they go there. It'll say this is live streaming, but the actual
Luda
address
is going to take the line to induce the bluff
.com.
and just calls. Way ahead, way behind situation, probably. Or LG could be firing with spades as well, and there's a spade. Luda's probably just going to check call. Unless the bet's an overbet, then Chris might fold. Chris might speech fold. Very polarizing situation, as LG could have checked a jack on the flop and also could have made backdoor spades, or LG could have nothing.
I actually like doing it alone because I just lay out in between, you know what I mean? 15. Yeah. Sometimes it's a battle when you have somebody. I don't mind bringing people in from the outside to sort of interview them and watch the game, but if someone's going to be there that's hasn't experienced and going to be in there the whole time, it's sometimes hard.
LG does bet 1,500. Pot size bet, putting Chris in a tough spot. Chris does show his cards, is now thinking whether to pay off. Looks like he's got chips prepared. LG could have had a semi-bluff on the turn as well with like 7-8, would now miss. Chris very frustrated visibly. This is not an easy spot. It's just like one of those spots where it's like, it's not really an error to call, but you want to be as frequently right as possible. Chris may have gotten some live reaction. Chris sees the backdoor spades, also knows a jack's good. LG could also have a set too. You know, you check a set of sixes if Chris had checked over. Chris looks like he's gonna pay. And I think backdoor spades hit. Yeah, backdoor spades did hit.
Thank you very much.
So Chris kind of knew, still paid. Of course, not really an error there to pay, especially this early in the session. But obviously, if Chris had c-bet the flop instead of play it defensively, then LG's never getting there.
Whoa, so the biggest winner in the game, Hui, huh?
Yeah.
84-35 up. Biggest loser of the game right now is Dave, minus $6,600. And Bart's also down 2K.
So Bart had a couple rough hands early. He had 10s against aces. He 3-bet 10s out of position, and then who was the guy with aces? Oh, he's not here anymore. Whoever had aces isn't here anymore. It's Asian guy. No, I'm okay. Yeah. No. Okay. I don't eat my own kind. Never mind. Always joking. Okay.
Sounds like you're talking to yourself, Wayne,
Yeah,
because I mute myself.
Yeah.
Unless it's poker related, I mute myself at all times.
Right.
I was asking Wayne if he wanted me to get him food. If you are a tournament player, which I guess I qualify since I fired like probably over $7,500 worth of bullets.
Bang,
I
bang.
get a stamp that was $2,200 worth of a bullet for the high roller, which I busted. So I'm deciding if who wants food in the booths to try to get some money back, some rake back for my friends, you know.
Yeah.
So I already brought
Appreciate it.
Brian food. I'm asking Wayne if he wants food. Wayne sounds like a crazy person talking to himself, but he is answering my questions. So Robert with pocket queens, 2 chicks at the same time.
Yep.
Wayne's favorite thing to say on air. And man, this is Big John's got the cracker for queens, in my opinion. 9-8 suited. If it hits, it can win a big pot.
It hit, but not in the right way. Top pair for John. Robert has a hammerlock in hand, over pair and spades.
Interest rates go up, which means that there's less available demand, and prices will go down a little bit. Is that right?
When the economy's sizzling,
Right.
you have to offset a little bit of the debt and pay this, so that obviously the rates go up. But when the rates go up, obviously
That's
people,
what I'm saying. The housing market would go down.
it goes down when the interest rates go up. I mean, every time in history, but
Well, there's less available. People, there's a little bit less available credit, right? Or people aren't going to buy at a higher.
they can't
cost.
buy as much, and so they just stay put.
Big John's going to
know
make
what I
a
mean?
good fold.
But 'cause when money is
Folding the
almost for
nines.
nothing, you know,
LG, let's see what he
this is
does.
the time when people want to start locking
LG
in
folds
all
as
their-
well. Robert's
you know,
going to take
someone has
LT
a house,
pot.
they want a bigger one.
I'm going to respond to the chat a bit. Leo Rubio says, Wayne,
they
should the
rebuy?
goal be not to have a style? I mean, when you're looking in a vacuum, every hand you want to play as best as possible for the situation. But we're all human. Like, we have
The interest rate?
tendencies. We have styles. Like, we're better than
Three or
some
four-
than others. We have to
quarter
deal
deal.
with, like, image, the way the tables
Trump wants them to stop raising. and he's pissed
flow
off.
is going.
The Fed
There's
keeps
a lot of
raising.
variables, and we all just kind of settle into, what we do best. And what we. Do you have any comments on that?
No, I was going to ask you, what does that mean, like, in a vacuum?
I don't know how that affects the housing.
In a vacuum,
Because, like, poker players use that all the time.
Yeah.
And I use it sometimes, but I'm still not sure. Like, why, in a vacuum, like,
because okay, so hand histories. When I tell you a hand, or you tell me a hand, or we read a hand on like 2+2 or something, it's just the hand, and there's like a little small description on the players, which is like, oh, this guy is like, is capable of bluffing, but usually has a blah blah blah. It's like these hands are just like in a vacuum. You only see one hand out of the hundreds of hands that are played in that session, and we know that the same hand in a different session or even a different time of day, even with the same player, can just play out differently.
so what you're trying to say also, just so I understand exactly, because chat probably wonders the same thing as
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
Sure.
It just means at that dynamic, that exact dynamic, or in this vacuum, in this setting,
Just
correct?
this hand, and this is in this information, no
Gotcha.
other information.
Okay.
Like, we know we're like, what, an hour in the show? When you're an hour in any session, the games aren't that wild. Wildness comes after like hour 4, hour 8, after hour 12. That's when people taking bad beats. People are pissed off. There's rivalries. JJ busts me out and I'm mad at him. Then things get kind of wild. Then the same hand after hour 1 is played differently after hour 7. So in a vacuum, it's like no tilt factor. We just sat down. This is the hand that goes down. What do you do? And this is something that I think people who do hand histories are a little overly obsessive. Like, what was the right way to play this hand? Well, the situation changes like all the time, even with the same players. Just with the table dynamic. LG's got pocket 5s.
So if any of you guys wanted to get staking and or be like sound the smartest poker player out of all your friends, just say a few key terms.
They do.
Say vacuum like Wayne just did. Talk about ranges. Just say, his range versus your range versus his range. The guy's parking lot range.
But you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then also, if you don't know, just say mixed strategy.
Balance your range.
No, just say mixed
Mixed
strategy.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
all right.
I don't know mixed strategy.
30% this, 70% that.
Mixed
Yeah.
strategy.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand what he's doing. He's got a mixed strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys all want to be like the king of your home game, just say vacuum. You can throw in polarize if that bet was polar. But make sure you say mixed strategy and range.
Polars are riskier
The
thing to
way
say.
he constructs his range from the